Okay, I'm gonna pull some cards for the week. But I do have like an intuitive message. And at first I thought it was like individual messages, but it seems to be like one big picture, right? So it's just like a wooded area. There's bunches of flowers. They're blue with 5 petals and a yellow middle. And they can range from blue to lavender, like in color. Moths in its dark time. Flying bugs. I want to say there's definitely a grasshopper there. A large body of water like a lake. It seems very serene and very secluded. Like an isolated area that you would go to when you need to take a break mentally. I feel like this message will resonate with individuals that feel mentally overloaded, that feel like things are just not going how they need to, or at least trying to figure out a way to navigate their situation without exerting any more energy than they already have. And it's very important that you acknowledge your burnout before it even initiates, or at least acknowledge it while you're in the middle of it, so you know, like, hey, this isn't happening because I want it to. It's not happening because I have a bad attitude. This situation's happening simply because I'm burnt out and I've gave away all my energy. I gave away myself for far too long, far too far. All right. But definitely, I feel like these tiny, dainty blue flowers is a sign for somebody when you know that you're in the right spot to take a break, or you're in the right spot to sit down. And they may have a very fragrant flavor. We're eating the flowers now. That's like isn't that like a butterfly tea thing where you put it in a cup, it turns blue, you put lemon in it, and it's purple? Okay. I'm not taking this card, but as I'm shuffling it, we have the sun that came out. So it's basically like whatever's irritating you, let's look into a different direction. That irritation is not necessary. That irritation is not needed, right? So you are perfectly fine to just let that shit go and move on about your day. You don't need to sit here and allow people to disturb your peace like that. Like, they're not that important anyway. They want to have a loud bark, but they don't bite regardless. There's nothing that you can do or say that's going to ruin your situation. Nothing that they can do or say. They have no power over you. So if you're sitting there allowing them to take on this energy and take on the power to control your life, that may be something that you need to take back, right? Cut that shackle, because there's no shackle. It's like an 8 of Swords. You placed me here. I placed myself here. And now I feel like I can't get out, when really it's just 2 steps and you're out the door. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to do 3 cards, beginning, middle, end. And then we'll go from there. All right, so for there's a 3rd card. That's a 3rd. Ooh. The 10 of Cups was hiding behind these 2. So for the beginning of the week, I have the Hermit card, the Fool, and the 7 of Pentacles on the bottom. But hidden behind all this is the 10 of Cups. So to me, this seems like we are ignoring something that's keeping us away from our happiness, ignoring something that's keeping away from us just moving on and moving forward, right? You don't need to be so quick and so rash about things. Think about things in an intuitive and emotional way where you can be grounded and be confident enough that you're making the right choice. Okay, with the Hermit card in reverse, it's like isolation without purpose. Isolation without purpose. With the 7 of Pentacles here, it's all about divine timing, divine purpose. You plant the seed, you never know what's going to sprout there. Unless you plant the seed, you know what's going to sprout, but you don't know when specifically, right? It's like everything takes time. If you're trying to rush the process and rush the things that need to happen in a secular way, you are going to find yourself in a more unhappy situation. Okay, things aren't going to flow like they need to. So the beginning of the week's energy is very much vocalizing, take your time, focus on the things that make you happy, focus on the relationships that keep you safe, focus on the things that are important to you. You don't have to keep feeding into people just because they are there. Just because they want your help does not mean they need your help. They can figure this shit out on their own. Okay, if you can't take care of you, who are you to take care of somebody else? Okay, so that's the beginning of the week. Let's move on to the middle of the week. I wish I would have pressed record, but for the middle of the week, I have the Knight of Wands, and then we have the Ten of Cups in reverse. So like I said, the beginning of the week, we're not supposed to be focusing on things outside of what is important to us, because we're so burnt out that your energy cannot go into other spaces, other places. Okay, the Knight of Wands is very intentional with where he puts his energy. Yes, it's very fast, it's very potent, but it's intentional, right? We're localizing our focus, and we're localizing our power, our manifestation. And I feel like we need to focus on home in the middle of the week. We're already having this burnt out energy. We're already having this moment where everything feels so overwhelming. Let me pull that top card. Yeah, we need to put the energy back where it needs to be placed. So with the middle of the week, I feel like if there's something disturbing you, something that is frustrating you, it's very important to take a step back before you respond, right? The Knight of Wands is intentional, but he can also be very blunt, right? But we're not being hasty with our words, intentional with the words, but they still hurt, okay? So let me see that behind card. Yeah, behind card was the Knight of Cups in reverse. No, yeah. So you may feel a little apathetic this week to other people's situations. Just ground yourself, okay? Place back into yourself, recharge yourself, all right? Look to see where your energy is being placed and act accordingly, okay? It's we're having a localized moment, I would say. So let me go ahead and look at the end of the week, and then we will go from there. And for the end of the week, we have the Five of Wands with the Judgment card on the bottom. So it seems like the frustration has built up all the way to the end of the week, where you're just fed up with whatever energy has been thrown your way, whatever frustration has been thrown your way. It's very important, like I said, to not ignore the feelings that you are feeling, to not ignore the things that are frustrating you, to not ignore the things that are needing to be dealt with. So if there's something that you're already going into this week with a big old, I don't want to do this, I don't like it, I don't want it, just know that if you continue on with that energy, it's going to blow up, right? This is a disagreement. This is a frustrating moment. This is a argument of some sort, or at least some type of friction, right? We're all disagreeing on the main goal, all frustrated on what the purpose of the situation is, okay? So it could also be dealing with like social media. It doesn't have to be dealing with people around you specifically. It could be dealing with a job, social media. I feel like it's distant, more distant, like a family situation. But take what resonates, leave behind what doesn't, right? Because the Judgment card is on the bottom. So with the Judgment on the bottom, it seems to be that we aren't listening to the point. We're not listening to what Spirit has to say. We're not taking time to actually analyze the things that need to be heard and the things that need to be known, right? You have an intuitive guide within you, and you feel like you're in charge of taking over the steering wheel, when in actuality you need to take your time and listen to what Spirit has to say. Do what you have to do in order for Spirit to be satisfied with you, essentially. It doesn't, you know what I mean? You're being told to do something, you're ignoring that. You're going against your own judgment to make this choice. Let me see that top card, please. Yeah, Full in reverse. Didn't I say don't make a hasty decision? Stop that. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that, man? Yeah. I just feel like this week, its energy is very much based on burnout. Energy is very much based on you need to chill out, you need to take a second, you need to sit down, you take a breather. Because I feel like you're emotionally disconnected to a specific thing, whether that's a person, place, thing. I mean, I got frustrated on social media because people were over here arguing with me about dumb shit. And I felt like you're trying to misunderstand me on purpose and then say that I'm the one misunderstanding the situation, right? And then I blew up. Fair. Because people gonna be people. You can't control them. So at the end of the day, you need to take time for yourself and reground yourself. This week is based off rejuvenation, regeneration, right? Recharge, right? Re. Okay? If it feels like it's too much, it probably is. But at the same time, do not isolate without purpose. Have a reason as to why you want to go into your room and cuddle up in a blanket. Right? I mean, it's okay to bed rot from time to time, but don't make that the basis of why you isolate. You want to make sure that you work through these feelings and work through these emotions before you re-enter this space, so that way you don't have this energy of, I hate all of you, I hope you die, I hope you do that, you rot. Don't do that. Okay? All right, I'm gonna go fight for my life in this HEB. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and take care of yourself, please. Okay? Love you, bye.